Well, do you find me handsome?
Oh, no, sir.
Oh. By my word, there's something singular about you. You have the air of a little nonette. Quaint, quiet, grave. You sit there, your hands before you, and your eyes generally bent upon the carpet. Except just now, when they were directed piercingly to my face.
Do you think me handsome, Jane?
No, sir.
Look carefully. If I were to tell you that I'm worth £20,000, surely the light from the fire would soften my features. Do I not seem to you now the very model of a fashionable man?
I do not think there's anything in science that would allow that, sir. I spoke hastily, sir. I did not mean that I find you repellent.
And when one asks a question or makes a remark to which you're bound to reply, you rap out a rejoinder, which, if not blunt, is at least brusque. What do you mean by it?
Sir, I was too plain. I beg your pardon.
Do you?
I ought to have replied that it is not easy to give an impromptu answer about appearances, that tastes mostly differ and that beauty is of little consequence. Something of that sort.
You ought to have replied no such thing. Beauty of little consequence.
You examine me, Miss Eyre. Do you find me handsome?
No, sir.
By my word, there is something singular about you. You have the air of a little nun. Quaint, quiet, grave and simple, with your arms before you and your eyes generally bent on the carpet. Except, by the by, when they're directed piercingly to my face. As just now. And when one asks you a question, you rap out a brusque rejoinder. What do you mean by it?
Sir, I beg your pardon. I was too plain.
You were no such thing. Go on. What faults do you find with me, pray? I suppose of all my limbs and all my features, like any other man?
Mr. Rochester, I intended no repartee. It was a blunder.
Just so. And you shall be answerable for it.
So, instead of softening the previous outrage, of stroking and soothing me into placidity, you stick a sly penknife under my ear. Well, go on. What fault do you find with me, pray? I suppose I've all my limbs and features like any other man.
Mr. Rochester, allow me to disown my first answer. I intended no pointed repartee. It was only a blunder.
Just so, and you shall be answerable for it.
Your gaze is very direct, Miss Eyre. Do you think me handsome?
No, sir.
What fault do you find with me? I've all my limbs and features.
I beg your pardon, sir. I ought to have replied that beauty is of little consequence.
You're blushing, Miss Eyre. And though you're not pretty any more than I am handsome, I must say it becomes you. And now I see you're fascinated by the flowers on the rug.